What? Don't quote me on it. It's currently 12:15 a.m. What am I saying? Wait, renegade. Yeah, shameless promo. It doesn't work like that. I hate motorcycles. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy you're here, and if you like this video, please subscribe and leave a like down below. It would mean the world to me. So as you can see by the title, this is a stats, how I got into college type of video, and I'm just going to be talking about my experience and possibly giving you some advice. So I did apply to 21 colleges, as you can see by the title, and that was a very high number to apply to. There kind of really is no need to apply to that many because you can't attend all of them at the same time, like 1 month here, 1 month there. Like, it doesn't work like that, so obviously. So I did want to preface this video by saying I am the oldest child in my family, so that kind of made me a test monkey in a sense for what's going on with colleges these days. But luckily I did have some guidance. So I ended up taking a total of 12 APs during my 4 years in high school, and I wrote them all down. I don't know if that's important to you guys. I think it's just the idea that your colleges that you're applying to know that you're trying your hardest and that you're pushing yourself, and in turn it teaches you things like time management and stuff like that they don't necessarily teach you like in a class or directly. It's kind of like a skill that you learn indirectly. So I think that's something that a lot of colleges look for, but I'll just say them anyway. So I took 1 as a sophomore, which is world history. Then I took 4 as a junior, which were English and language composition, US history, physics 1, and psychology. And then as a senior, I took 7, which were chemistry, physics 2, calculus, BC, Spanish language and composition, US government and politics, English literature and composition, and microeconomics. So that did end up being kind of the toughest course load that my school offered me, and that's kind of why I went for it. I just want to say that I'm not one of those people that just takes classes to take classes. Like, I really took these classes so that I was able to not only focus on what I personally am interested in and what would help propel me for a career in the future or my college major or whatever, but I also took classes that I wasn't necessarily 100% with or familiar with because I wanted to get better in those aspects, because I think it's really good for someone, say like for me, who really likes things that are STEM, to be able to write something that's really nice, like poetry or something, or to be able to stay updated on recent current events and things that are going on in the world. I think it's cool to be well-rounded. It makes for great conversations too, but that's definitely not the point. Along with those classes, I was also in orchestra, which was for all 4 years. It was the same period, and I do play the violin, which was very nice. That was kind of a constant that I had throughout the years. And I was also in the research program, which is a 4-year track. And I don't know why I'm saying like track, like it's a pre-med track, like who am I? Anyway, so I was able to fit it in my schedule for the first 3 years, and then as a senior, it wasn't able to fit because I took too many APs. Yeah, so I asked to be able to meet with the teacher once or twice a week in the library during my lunch period, where I'd be able to talk and catch up on all the research things that we were doing, getting ready for competitions, being able to just kind of catch up on life in general. So that was kind of really nice that they were able to accommodate me and fit that in, and I really appreciate that. I know not every school is able to do that, so thank you so much, even though you're probably not going to see this video. So in terms of extracurriculars, I was in some honor societies and in clubs and athletics and music. I kind of just went for whatever I was interested in, and I think at the end of the day, that's what made me a well-rounded person, and I'm really happy that I was able to pursue my passions. So in terms of honor societies, I was in the National Honor Society, Science National Honor Society, Math National Honor Society, and the Triumph Music Honor Society. So all of those were really nice organizations that we were able to do a lot of community service with, and to also be able to kind of acknowledge ourselves for having worked very hard for the past 4 years. So in addition, science Olympiads and mathletes, and I was also in the Horizon newspaper, which is our school's newspaper, and I was an editor for a couple years, and it was just good for me to be able to push myself in an area of learning that I wasn't necessarily keen on, which is English, because I am more STEM based in a sense, as though like humanities is like a completely different extreme. I don't know why I'm being so dramatic, but it was good for me to be able to focus on something that I wasn't normally used to being focused on. I also really took my violin seriously for a lot of high school, and I performed with 2 outside orchestras, not including the chamber orchestra at my school. And I also took private lessons for violin, where I would kind of build up to the end of the year where I would play a solo for judges to be able to determine whether I could be in those festivals on the state level, the regional level, or just the local level. So that was kind of something that I really was passionate about. So during high school, I also played 2 sports, which were basketball and volleyball. So as a freshman, somehow I made it onto the varsity team for basketball, and 2 years later I made it on the varsity team for volleyball. I just played JV for the other 2 years. It was every day after school for basically 2 hours, and there would be games sprinkled throughout the season schedule, and it was something that I really had to adapt to quickly to learn how to manage my time, which I think was a very effective skill that can definitely help me in the future, in college definitely, and for the rest of my life. Whatever. Okay, in terms of like work experience slash like community service, I am a Girl Scout. So I was kind of working throughout high school to be able to achieve my Gold Award, because that was something I aspired to get to for quite a while. I'd heard that only 5% of girls who are Girl Scouts manage to finish, and that's because they either don't think it's cool anymore or they're not motivated anymore. But I just decided to take something that I was passionate about, which is research and science and everything, as you could probably tell by the trend of things that I was saying. So that's kind of how I was able to motivate myself to finish it. So that was one type of thing that I did. And another was get a research internship, which is something outside of school that I was able to push myself. So I did email professors and people that wrote interesting research articles and papers that I really liked when I was reading them, and I contacted them. And so obviously I did get a positive response, because I did have a lab internship, which was over the summer as I was a rising senior. So that was really exciting, and I was able to learn so many new things in a professional lab setting that I don't think I would have been able to replace anywhere. I think that experience of being in a professional lab setting is just something that is priceless, and I did gain so much experience from it that you just can't gain from being at home or being in a regular school environment. So also as a junior, I decided that I wanted to try volunteering at a hospital. So I did that for several weeks, and I did get a lot of volunteering hours. So I think the thing that set me apart from other applicants was being able to go very deep into the things that I was interested in. So as you could probably hear from the things that I was saying, I'm really passionate about the violin and my science and being able to give back to the community. So that's kind of a focus that I made, and it did help me be able to kind of build what I was kind of trying to convey to the people that were reading my essays and everything like that, because I had a focus. And it was also how I was able to structure my resume, which was all kind of oriented in those 3 categories, which made it very easy to understand what I was all about. I think that's one thing people don't tell you about a resume, is to kind of orient it towards the thing that you're going for. So if you're going for something in science, like put as much science things as you can together, and guessing that you do more things than that, just including those in between kind of distracts you or the person who's reading it from understanding what your focus is and what you want to aspire to be / go for. So I took the SAT, the ACT, and even the PSAT, and obviously all those T's are not nearly as important as they were a few years ago, considering a lot more colleges are being open to the idea of being test optional. For the SAT, I took it 4 times, and the highest I got was a 1470, and I have no shame in saying that because I do know that it's a good score. I just feel like in my mind I could do better. So I took the ACT and I ended up getting an average of a 34, but what kind of seemed like a 35, I don't know. I got 35s in 3 areas and then a 32 in 1. So do with that what you may. I did mention that I took the PSAT and I honestly forgot what I got. I ended up being a commended merit scholar of some sort, which was just saying like kudos to you for doing well on that test. It did nothing except acknowledge what we had done, and I was very grateful for that, because sometimes it's just the recognition that, you know, makes you feel a little better, like, hey, you're going somewhere, you're doing something right. I mainly took them because not many of the schools I was applying to were test optional, so in a sense it does give you the upper hand to have taken those, because it is another criteria that they're able to look at. But I really don't care. I have no shame in saying any of these numbers because I know they don't define me in any way, so that does make me feel proud to have that realization, because I know a lot of people actually like let numbers define them, whether it's the amount of money you get in your career or it's a test score that you're aspiring to get for like all of your life. These are just numbers, and I know they don't define me in any way, and if I did let them define me, that would be the beginning of the end, because really, like, I also know that a lot of people think it's interesting to know what my GPA is for some reason. So I did have a 101.93, and I think that's really great. And I kind of don't understand the idea of getting like above a 100, because that kind of skews a lot of things. I know a lot of schools do things differently. Like some schools, instead of a 4.0, they'll do like a 5.0 or something. So that just goes to show that like a lot of schools do things differently. So first of all, I'm so thankful to be able to have all of these opportunities that I was able to have, and I was lucky enough to win some awards for some of the athletics that I did, some of the research that I was able to do over that summer. With that, I know also a lot of people like to hear about awards. So I was a Regeneron STS 2020 scholar. I was a semi-finalist for the JSHS competition. I was an AP Scholar with Distinction, a National Merit Program Commended Scholar. I won the Varsity Volleyball Conference Award and the Academic All-County Honors Award, Varsity Basketball Academic All-County Honors Award, All-County Honorable Mention, Violin All-State Alternate. I was also the Senior Scholar Athlete Student Standout Award recipient, as well as being in the Daikin Science Scholars Program, which is super exciting to me. I am so thankful for all of the opportunities that I've been able to be afforded here. So now on to the part that you guys are probably waiting for, to know all the schools that I applied to. So I actually made a list on my computer, because 21 schools is no joke. So, I thought it was in alphabetical, but it's not. So Villanova University, Georgia Institute of Technology, Emory University, CUNY City College, Macaulay Honors College, Brooklyn College, Johns Hopkins University, Washington University of St. Louis, Columbia University, Cornell University, Harvard University, University of Pennsylvania, UC Berkeley, UC San Diego, UCLA, Northwestern University, Lehigh University, Boston University, University of Southern California, Hofstra University, SUNY Binghamton, and University of Delaware. So those are all the schools that I applied to, and no, I did not get into all of them. So in terms of tackling essays, I decided that it would not be most beneficial for me to write 21 essays or more individually about the same thing, essentially. So I decided to write 3 to 4 different essays about things that seemed to be reoccurring in the questions that different schools were asking me, and I was able to reword them and fit them for the use or the question that was being asked. And that was really helpful and didn't stress me out as much, because I did have the content there. It was just a matter of fitting it for what the question was asking. Sometimes it was a question that completely deviated from whatever I had written and had forced me to rewrite or write something completely new, which was kind of fine because I didn't have to do it for every single time. For these essays, I decided to focus on what I wanted to do in the future with what I was able to do in the past. So I decided that since I wanted to be a physics major, as I had decided near the end of junior year after taking AP Physics 1, just kind of clicked with me, and I was having interesting conversations with people in the lab about quantum theories and things in the universe. Like, these things were so crazy, and like I got so interested so fast. So that's why I decided that I wanted to be a physics major. I still haven't taken any classes in college yet, so we'll see what happens, but I'm really excited for what the future holds, and that's kind of what I was able to convey in my essays. So aside from that, I also had to write the Common App essay, because that is an essay that every single college that I applied to had to see. My college essay, I actually wrote about sunsets because it's something that I've always really cared about, and if you know me, you know I love a good sunset. You can check my Instagram. I have the story highlight just dedicated for sunsets, and yeah, shameless promo. Anyway, I wrote about that because I thought it was a topic that was unique and something that would be able to make me stand out from the other applicants in terms of the topic in itself. I decided that I would write about how you can dedicate your whole time to seeing it, and how you can also just see slivers of it in between buildings or on your way somewhere, just a little quick flash, and it gives you a peace of mind. So I did convey it better than the way I said it just now, which is possibly a reason why I got the positive results that I did, but don't quote me on it. The main reason why I ended up applying to so many schools is because I had a fear that if I applied to too many uppity schools or whatever, and I didn't get any positive responses from them, then if I didn't have any safeties, I'd have nowhere to go. So that's kind of what I did. I had safeties for my safety and like uppities, and you know, like, and then it added up to 21. Now I'm just gonna say whether I was accepted, deferred, waitlisted, or rejected from these schools. So I didn't apply anywhere early decision, 1 or 2, mostly because of the binding agreement for it. And I thought I could see all of the options and the opportunities that I could have in terms of the financial aspects of it and the academic aspects of it from multiple schools. I was accepted to Villanova, Georgia Tech Macaulay Honors College for Brooklyn College, and for City College, WashU, Columbia, Cornell, UPenn, UC San Diego, UCLA, Northwestern, Lehigh, BU, USC, Hofstra, SUNY Binghamton, and the University of Delaware. So I was so blessed to be able to get into all of these schools. I know it's the collective work and the well-roundedness that I did. I don't think I could possibly sit here and tell you that it was one specific thing that I did. I think it was just a collection of following my passions and being able to pursue them to the highest level possible that I could. Of the other schools, I was waitlisted from Emory, and I didn't get into UC Berkeley or Harvard University, which I'm not so mad about because those are really good schools and I know that. So I know that I worked really hard, and I can't even believe that I got into some of my dream schools. And I just think getting into those schools is just so crazy. Like, I don't think I would have been able to do it without the help of my friends, family, and everybody in between, because what? So if you've watched my previous video, or if you just know me, you would know that I will be attending the Georgia Institute of Technology next year and majoring in physics. So I'm super excited to be going to Atlanta to see all of the wonders that Georgia has to hold, because I've never been there, so it'll definitely be a journey and something exciting for me to discover this fall. So yeah. Yellow Jackets. You'd probably expect me to have done some of the things for the sake of doing them, but honestly, I did all these things because I was passionate about doing them. I didn't have parents that were forcing me to go to this or go to that. They just kind of let me be free in terms of what I wanted to do academically, and also in terms of my extracurriculars, which I'm forever grateful for. And it did allow me to become more independent in terms of making choices and things like that. My biggest piece of advice is to just go forth in what you're interested in. Find a way to both volunteer in it, go learn things on the side independently, whether it's taking courses or it's asking people that are above you in terms of intelligence and being able to kind of have role models in the field of whatever you're thinking about or whatever you're interested in, to learn more from the people that have experienced it, because life teaches you most through experiences. Honestly, at the end of the day, I'm really content with what I did during high school, and I don't have any regrets. And I think that's the most important thing, that you don't look back and think, oh my gosh, I wish I could have blank. Make sure you learn from your mistakes in terms of getting something wrong on a test. Like, do a correction, like go practice it. If you mess something up in terms of like a project or anything, talk to the teacher, like try to advocate for yourself. Talk to people that have gone through the same experiences that you have, so that you can gain a better understanding and kind of gain more perspectives, because that's something that can really help you become more well-rounded and be able to tackle whatever situation or problem or issue that you're going to face in the future. Okay, so the application fees for colleges are kind of pricey. I guess like paying like 21 of them was kind of pricey, but getting into some of them, they did send like t-shirts and stuff, which was kind of nice. So make sure you apply to schools that like give you stuff. I'm just kidding. Make sure you do research before you apply to these schools. Try to visit if you can. I know it's very difficult during these times, but sometimes just getting the feel for what campus would be like. And if you can, try to go to see a virtual tour online. If your town or your region is having a college fair, I would definitely encourage you to go to one of those, because they have so many representatives from so many different colleges, and if you're even interested in one, it shows that you are interested in them and that you have put forth an effort. Some schools do offer you interviews. Some of them make it mandatory to offer all applicants interviews, and some can't necessarily offer them to all of them, but they do try. So I would definitely take advantage of any/all opportunities that you have to interview and speak to a representative face to face to learn what the college is about, and to also give them reason to advocate for you, and to be able to amplify your application by showing that not only are you a good and strong applicant on paper, but you do deliver in person. So I think that is such an important thing to do. I can't say it's a determining factor in terms of getting in or not, but it is definitely important to some schools that you at least make that effort. For me personally, I did have interviews with Georgia Tech, Harvard, WashU, Columbia, Cornell, UPenn, and several others. Sometimes you really don't know what to expect. Like, some of them were in a coffee shop and it was just kind of like a chill conversation, like, oh, why do you like this school? What attracts you the most? What do you think you'll be able to get out of this? And networks and everything like that. And some of them were a lot more sophisticated in a sense, where like I wore a blazer and everything. So it just depends the setting. You have to kind of judge for yourself, but definitely don't underdress. If you're too fancy, like, no one can blame you for that, you know, like, it happens, whatever. Maybe practice a couple of questions with a friend, or even like your guidance counselor, a teacher that's really cool or something, you know what I mean? Like, you just gotta kind of get used to it and get comfortable to it, so that you're not really improving in front of the person who's essentially trying to advocate for you, but if you don't give them much reason to, it's kind of hard for them, you know what I mean? Ultimately, the thing that I think is the most important is trying your hardest, because effort is everything, and sometimes it's more than you know. You'll never be able to know exactly what you're in for unless you only did one extravagant thing that somehow got you into all of the colleges of your dreams or anything like that. But just try your hardest. Make sure you're putting your best foot forward in anything that you're doing, because it will pay off. Even if there is no immediate reward, there's definitely a way for it to benefit you in the future. So with that, I send you the best wishes, and I'm so happy to have been able to tell you my story, and I hope you guys enjoyed. As I said in the beginning, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. It would mean the world to me, and thank you so much. I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.